missed this. I thought you had to, let's see. I'm sorry, I need to keep skipping. I think we're on point 10. You have to usher the vice president, and then he gives a word, and then the vice president ushers in the president.
Except that the vice president is available now. He intimated that he is engaged. If he's there, VP Ate, is he in?
Just searching. No.
No,
Yeah, so we will move on to bring in the president. Our next speaker, as you all know, is somebody that we all know. He's Amber One. He is the president of the Federal Republic of Amazonia, but I call him Dr. Common Sense. I have never for a moment forgotten how I used to sit up in the night, late into the night. Sometimes if he has to come on late, I will stay up until morning just to listen to him give strategies, give ideas, inspire us. In fact, let me make it known to us that our president is the person that kept me going when I joined the fight like never before. So I still remember him as Dr. Common Sense because he has continued to defend that title, and I don't see anytime soon that title falling off his hands. Please allow me to invite the President of the Federal Republic of Amazonia, Dr. Samuel Ikome Sako. Mr. President, over to you, sir.
Where's
Dr. Paddy?
Paddy has to play the
The President of the Federal Republic of Amazonia, Dr. Samuel Ikome Sako, addresses the nation in a moment. Stay tuned.
Let me start by acknowledging my hardworking Vice President and patriot of the struggle, Mr. Eric Ate, the Speaker of the Interim House of Representatives, the Right Honorable Dr. Winnie Lobati, Ms. Dorothy Ngwa, the Chairlady of Ethics Committee, and Barrister Besia, Chairman of the Judicial Council. All honorable members of Cabinet here present, and all members of government and my special presidential entourage. Mr. Peter Combe, the Deputy Secretary of State for Home Affairs and Community Mobilization and County Chair for Menchum. Reverend Ivo Commando, Director of Spiritual Affairs at the Presidency. Vice Chair of Menchum County, and the Honorable Peter Kube, representative for Menchum, IHR, and other county executives. My dear people of Menchum, fellow Ambazonians, thank you for coming together today to participate in this financial marathon that has landed us at the foot of the majestic Menchum Falls in the great county of Menchum. We are here once more to support our humanitarian efforts in self-defense as dictator Paul Biya continues to wage a senseless genocidal war on our innocent people. We are here to do what is necessary to make sure our brave Amazonian Restoration Forces in Menchum County have the tools to continue to defend themselves and our vulnerable people from being annihilated. Welcome again to Menchum, the county bordering Nigeria to the west and bordering 5 other counties within the Savannah and Midland zones, making it a very, very strategic center. Having suffered from the mismanagement of county funds in the past by the former county leadership, this great county just picked itself from its bootstraps in 2021 after the same greedy comrades had siphoned funds belonging to the county. When people change to now do what they criticized yesterday, they should be bold to change their names also. These culprits went ahead to associate themselves with other spoilers, now correctly addressed as coup plotters by the people of Amazonia, in a desperate bid to escape full accountability to the people of Menchum. However, their records are kept intact in our archives. We shall revisit them when D-Day comes in Boya. That will happen. The effects of these anti-revolutionary acts have been challenging and demoralizing to our dynamic population at home, especially our valiant Amazonian Restoration Forces of Menchum, who put their lives daily on the line to defend us. These bad cocoyams say they want to defend or defund our struggle, but starve our ARS by spreading cooked up lies to weaken our resolve to sacrifice in the fight. As a result, we have lost many of ours in the battles. Let's remember this tonight, who have perished since this war began, especially since last year. A moment of silence, please. May they continue to rest in power, and may their sacrifices continue to fuel our determination in our pursuit of freedom. My fellow compatriots of Womb, Menchum Valley, and Fongom local government areas, dear Amazonians on the home front, you have shown utmost resilience and perseverance amidst the daily massacres that take place in your localities. Your loved ones are being slaughtered and some disappeared, but you have not given up. You have been steadfast in this liberation struggle, not just because the interim government encourages you to do so, but because you are convinced in your spirit that this fight is our life and we must continue until we attain the only logical end that will guarantee our collective survival and freedom now and for generations to come, and that is our victory. Sometimes the evil genocidaires of Yaoundé used Fulani members of your community to provoke and stir up intertribal conflicts so that they could send in their genocidal thugs to massacre you. I advise you to be more vigilant so that you can forestall the ill intentions of the traitors amongst you and avoid the numerous skirmishes that the enemy uses to lure our genuine Ambazonian restoration forces into losing their guards and being ambushed by enemy forces. If you see something unusual, say something. Alert our restoration forces and any county or IG official you know, so that we can intervene in a timely manner. Most of these provocations, spearheaded by CPDM colonial apologists in your community, can be better managed or stemmed if our forces are tipped off in time so that the enemy's plans can be squashed or frustrated. The current leadership of Menchum, under the watchful eyes of Chairman Peter Ikome and his executive, has been leaving no stone unturned to revive this great county following the turbulent period of the failed coup. After ASSC2 Menchum, we have been reassured, is steadily working hard to redefine herself and bounce back fully to that fighting frontier that invoked panic in enemy La Republic killers talks and the colonial officers in this county prior to the recent self-inflicted wounds on our revolutionary apparatus. I can assure you that your generous financial commitment during this draft and the support from you all tonight will go a long way to incentivize our valiant Ambazonian Restoration Forces of Menchum to give the enemy a good run for our money, or further demoralize the mostly discouraged, ill-trained, genocidal BIR scouts deserting their colonial army. Let's do that tonight. Our valiant Ambazonian Restoration Forces in Menchum, fellow comrades in arms, let me remind you that you are the foundation of our national army. The IG restored our state, the state of Ambazonia, and you, our ARFs, are the first Department of State that we activated in October 2017. It was so because our struggle from that date was defined as one of recognition and no longer a struggle for independence. From the 1st of October 2017, we restored our independence, and so we no longer seek independence. We seek international recognition. Every nation must have an army that defends its territorial integrity. And in our case, our army consists of our community volunteers loyal to the cause. Your duty is to resist all internal and external threats to our restored sovereignty. Having restored our nation institutionally by restoring its government, you also are seen as a legitimate army defending a sovereign nation. As our soldiers, you don't belong to an individual or group. You belong to the state of Ambazonia, represented by this governmental authority called the interim government. That's why it is impossible for anyone fighting under the authority of a legitimate governmental authority to be labeled a rebel or a terrorist or a criminal for carrying a gun. That's why La Republique du Cameroon's propaganda to label you as terrorists has fallen flat in the eyes of the international community. It is only when you, our ARFs, Ambazonian Restoration Forces, choose to operate outside the discipline of state authority that the world begins to question your true identity or what you are actually fighting for. Let me give you this wise saying. A gunman exercising power without governmental authority will be seen as a criminal or member of a private militia. A man who takes up arms to overthrow a sitting government will be called a rebel. A gunman who works for a company or corporation will be called a security contractor. But a gunman with the authority of a state on his shoulders is called a soldier. So, Ambazonian Restoration Forces of Menchum, who are you? Security guards? Rebels? criminals, or soldiers of the state of Ambazonia. Ambazonia is a restored country. ARFs, you are not fighting to overthrow Paul Biya, so you are not Cameroonian rebels. We are not like UPC or April 6 coup rebels who took up arms to bring about a regime change in La République du Cameroon. Those were rebels. They are the soldiers of another country, but we are the soldiers for another country defending our nation and our people. Soldiers fight under governmental authority. Loyalty to government authority takes nothing away from you, the combatants. It only makes your struggle meaningful and consistent. How do you expect the international community to trust and recognize Ambazonia as a country with an army that is not wholly under any governmental authority? How can you, in my place, as president, argue the fact that a restored Ambazonia shall be stable and prosperous among civilized nations if we don't have a responsible army aligned behind our government that is accountable, one that is capable of defending our territorial integrity under our supervision? Any nation that wants to help us may not question our restoration proclamation, but it will evaluate our readiness and maturity to govern ourselves, to guarantee the security and stability of this very important sub-region in Africa, the Gulf of Guinea. If we are fighting to win La Republique, therefore we must fight strategically. If you want to win a boxing match, you cannot fight as if it is a street fight. You must follow the rules of boxing. Otherwise, you could even be the strongest man and still lose the fight. We have reached this far in this liberation struggle because of you, our Ambazonia Restoration Forces. We do not equate your sacrifice for nation to any other sacrifice in this liberation war. Volunteering to defend homeland is how high in honor any patriot can go. So I say thank you. We applaud your bravery and thank you for standing up for what you believe. True freedom and the complete liberation of homeland, Ambazonia. Our responsibility is to make sure we make your task easier in this government. That's why we are gathered here tonight to draft. I hope what Ambazonians will do tonight will be a booster for you to get on your feet again and fight the enemy in all the nooks and crannies of your county, as you did or have been doing in previous years. As your CIC, I fully understand the challenges you have been through, and as we continuously embark on this marathon, there will be more hiccups along the way. Some because of the versatility of the enemy, but others especially because of internal sabotage and betrayals. That's why my caution to you all is to be vigilant and shun any blind unity conceived and sold to you by pseudo-revolutionaries who serve as proxies to enemy forces. The ARF is already the united umbrella of all forces loyal to the interim government. We encourage collaboration among all loyal forces, but not blind unity. Blind unity is unity with anyone and everyone carrying a gun in Amazonia without discrimination. Even among animals, that would be dumb and scary. Sheep and goats cannot invite all animals to come and unite without exception. That will be understood by some of the animals as a Thanksgiving party that will guarantee 3 square meals to all the hyenas, the tigers, and the lions in the jungle that are also invited. ARFs, you are in a jungle where only the smartest survive. Collaborate with whom you know and trust, not with those who force themselves on you, who instead of fighting La République are either kidnapping or fighting other ARFs or denigrating the benevolent diaspora. And in their dubious propaganda, their code word for the interim government is diaspora. Dear diasporan sons and daughters of whom Isu, We, Furawa, Zoa, Fongom, Befa, Benakuma, Modele, Mukuru, etc. Fellow financial warriors and supporters of Menchum, wherever you are. What is happening in Canada is a non-event. At best, it is Grand National Monologue Part 2. Anyone who called himself or herself an Amazonian, yet attended that La République du Cameroon organized charade in Canada, is either ignorant of the rules of our adversary or is just some blue and white contractor auditioning for a hire, and those kind of people should never be present or represent Ambazonia at any table of negotiation. They want to help La République, who are desperately trying to avoid mediated talks in favor of unmediated talks. Unmediated talks means direct talks with them. Any possibility of direct unmediated talks means in fact, it turns this conflict into an internal affair amongst Cameroonians. The same reason La République du Cameroon gave for withdrawing from the Swiss mediated talks. They said they wanted it to be a talk between Cameroonians. If La République du Cameroon, after withdrawing from a platform of equality, the Swiss-led process, can only send a bunch of Ambazonian federalists to talk with Ambazonian independentists, does it not mean federalists are on the side of La République? That these are the people we are up against in Furawa or Ikome? Otherwise, how can La République be fighting with Ambazonia and La République refuses to reconcile with Ambazonia in Switzerland, but decides to organize reconciliation talks against some green, red, yellow Ambazonians who are not at war with Ambazonia? How can the government of La République not lead or even attend talks with Ambazonia, but expect the Ambazonia government to attend? Do you think La République of Cameroon wants a resolution of this conflict, or is just playing games with those they see as idiots? Let it be known that diplomatically, Ambazonia is fighting on two fronts only. It is either recognition or recognition. First, recognition through mediated dialogue or recognition without dialogue. La République du Cameroon has rejected recognition through the Swiss-led mediated dialogue. The only option left for Ambazonia at this juncture is recognition without dialogue. We are not fighting for independence. We are fighting for our recognition. My dear ARFs, you and this IG are the last hope for Ambazonia. My dear financial warriors, let us open a new chapter in our liberation history for Menchum tonight. Let's begin this night with our generosity. Let us put the necessary tools in the hands of these brave ones, our sons and daughters, to fight and win the fight of our lifetime. We know we are capable of doing more, and I am sure not long from now, the genocidal forces will have nowhere to hide in the entire county of Menchum as one of the international gateways to our country, rich in natural resources. A liberated Menchum reduces the pressure on all the neighboring counties and takes us closer to Boya. The never again generation has risen. Not long from now, the great county of Menchum will once more become the pride of our nation when our country is completely liberated. The great economic and human potential of Menchum will be harnessed for the good of our great people, as will be the case of all other counties in Ambazonia. Dear Ambazonians, let us not relent. The darkest hour of the night is at dawn. You have sacrificed financially for the sustainability of this liberation struggle, while many of our compatriots in the diaspora may not have committed as much. Some have stopped contributing financially altogether. They are now amongst our rowdiest spectators on social media. When you ask them what happened to them, they tell you Sako is the reason why they are no longer contributing. And when you ask them what Sako really did, they tell you what Mr. I brought the deal and Mr. No Evidence told them, and what Comita's Retirement Council said. If it sounds like a curse, then it is probably one. You know, a curse is working against you when you always use your own hands to destroy your chances and opportunities. When you pass out every time, just moments before your breakthrough, something happens. But that curse on Ambazonians, as far as our independence is concerned, is broken in this generation of ours. We appeal that you, the enlightened ones who are still standing, continue to reach out to all and educate them on the strides we are making diplomatically and on the great resolve of our Ambazonian restoration forces against the colonial forces. Let's also be our own ambassadors in persuading those bona fide southern Cameroonians and Ambazonians who are not contributing to our salvation endeavor to come on board. Today is Menchum's turn. Let us support this special and strategic county with as much as we can. Let the ARFs of Menchum wake up to a new reality as we encourage them to continue their patriotic duty in defending homeland. Let the good Lord replenish the source from which your financial generosity comes every week. Let the 2022 draft for Menchum kick off now. Viva the great people of Menchum County. Viva our brave Ambazonian restoration forces. And may God bless our beautiful country, Ambazonia.
Our very inspiring president a huge round of applause, a thunderous
Wow.
Very well, very well.
Thank you so much, Mr. President.
President of all time.
President.
Ikama
Wow.
President.
Thank you. Thank you.
God bless you. You're welcome.
Dr. Common Sense, oh yeah.
And It's a great speech.
Always a
Bless
great
you.
speech. Amen.
Talking next week, and if there's any time I
Thank
can
you.
add on something again.
So can we mute everyone, please? Thank you.
Thank you all again for coming, and I wish you all a great weekend. May the Lord bless you all and keep you all.
Please mute everybody.
Don't worry.
So thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for that very uplifting, inspiring speech as usual. You never fail, Ambazonia. Wow, you're truly Dr. Common Sense. Thank you so much for connecting with your people at every level. So we will now move to the most important part of this evening. That's not to undermine what has happened so far. Of course, so once again, thank you, Mr. President, and we will be moving on to the most important part of the evening, and that is the money business. And we want to use this opportunity to thank this wonderful, robust, untiring team, and that is none other than the resource mobilization team and all the collaborators and volunteers led by the Secretary of State for Resource Mobilization, Nijo, and his fantastic team. I want to thank them especially for burning the late night kerosene lamp every Saturday, I guess close to 6 months or probably more. That is a huge sacrifice. So we thank Ambazonia, of course, because you're the ones who donate. But of course, we thank this very robust team because they do the extra work, they go the extra mile of doing extra stuff that the usual, that you and I may not be doing. So we appreciate you all and we thank you. And we shall officially be handing over.
Why?